team that thought they were smart. They thought they were cool. They're like, oh, we got Aaron Rodgers, who dropped to the bottom of the first round. We're trying to replace Brett Favre, and then we go out there, we get Aaron Rodgers, who I don't know why he dropped that far. He shouldn't have dropped that far because he should have been the first pick in that draft. And then what do? Year in and year out, they don't get him enough help on offense, doesn't have enough help on defense, and then they draft Jordan Love, of all people. This is who you decided to ruin your relationship with Aaron Rodgers when Aaron Rodgers had 3 to 5 great years left in him? No, let's not go out there and target a guy like Justin Jefferson. Let's not target someone like a Jamar Chase or a receiver who we could get later in the round to pair with Devontae Adams and Jordy Nelson. Like, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to create a dynamic team for Aaron Rodgers. We want to draft Jordan Love, who's going to sit behind him for 4 years. And then as soon as Aaron Rodgers leaves to New York, you have to start him because you drafted him, and then you want to prove the world wrong. You want to prove, like, yeah, this is the guy who's going to take us to the promised land after we destroyed our relationship with Aaron Rodgers for Jordan Love. Jordan Love is awful. Jordan Love is one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen. Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Famer. Before Patrick Mahomes, he was the most gifted thrower of the football, according to the media. And then when they drafted Jordan Love, they asked Aaron Rodgers, they're like, so Jordan Love, what's the deal? And he's like, oh yeah, this guy is a beautiful mystery. So you're like, uh-oh, they messed up. And then how do you not know that this guy is this bad in training camp? You've seen him for 4 years and you still thought it was a good idea to be like, not just cut your ties, not trade him to a quarterback needy team and maybe get a pick out of him. You thought it was a good idea to roll him out there, and now he looks terrible. He's throwing interceptions. It's been 2 or 3 picks each game now, and they're not like, oh, that was a good play by the defense. Like some of the plays against Tyson Badgett last night, you're like, okay, that was kind of the defense making a good play. It's like, no, you're like, dude, what the hell are you thinking? What are you thinking? This is the guy you ruin your relationship with Aaron Rodgers with. You have a good defense. You have good receivers. You have good running backs. And then you still decide, like, nope, we're going to roll him out this year. We're not going to fix our relationship with Aaron Rodgers. We're going to pick him and then piss off Aaron Rodgers, where he just spends the next 3 seasons with us brooding like, I don't know if I want to leave. This team drafted a guy who sucks to replace me, but I'm going to leave just to show how bad Jordan Love is. And he had to leave this year just to make that whole thing work because they have to play him. Now you're not going to get anything back for Jordan Love. No one in their right mind is going to want him. And you also have Matt LaFleur, where it's like Matt LaFleur came from Tennessee, where he was the offensive coordinator with Derrick Henry there, who was really run the ball with Derrick Henry, and then questionable call against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Why the hell are we kicking a field goal when Tom Brady is on the other side and he's just going to run the clock out? You only score 10 points. Some of that is on Aaron Rodgers, but you only score 10 points after marching right down the field versus the San Francisco 49ers. And then you lose because of a block punt. And the 49ers only scored 3 points on offense in that game. They just have some weird questionable calls from Matt LaFleur. And then Nathaniel Hackett is gone now. So now it's like, okay, we know we don't have our quarterback. Now we have to figure out, is Matt LaFleur our coach here? But why would you ruin Aaron Rodgers' relationship with you for this guy? One of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen. He's like Mark Sanchez at some points, not even that good. It's like a Trey Lance situation. And then he's just awful. He's awful.
See, the funny part is that it goes further back than just Aaron Rodgers and how he pissed him off, because they did the same thing with their other Hall of Fame quarterback.
Brett.
We talked about how unlikely it is to have 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks back to back. Well, the Packers were very fortunate in the fact that they were able to do that. They struggled for a long time between Bart Starr and Brett Favre. There was a period of time where they just weren't very good. So then they get Brett Favre in the early 90s. He is probably the best quarterback of the 90s, at least numbers wise. They win a Super Bowl. Andy Reid as the offensive coordinator. And then he's winning MVPs. He wins 3 consecutive MVPs. And then in 2005, as he's getting older, they draft Aaron Rodgers. They piss off Brett Favre, who is the guy who's been there for 15 years at that point. And then they push him out of town. They trade him to the Jets. Luckily for you, you saved your franchise because Aaron Rodgers became a better all-time quarterback than Brett Favre at that point. He becomes the most talented quarterback not named Patrick Mahomes all time, top 5 in my eyes. And you proceed to have the next 10 years of greatness. Win a Super Bowl very early on in his career. And then after that, it's a decade of disappointment. It's them, oh, we're interested in this receiver, but they were asking too much. Like when they did when OBJ was available. They're like, oh, we wanted to offer him, a 4th-round pick, but they wanted a 3rd, and nah, it's a little too out of our way.
Yeah.
Even though you have a Hall of Fame quarterback who has won back-to-back MVPs continuously, just kicking them in the balls. And then this pick, when they had Devontae Adams, and all they really needed was like another nice receiver. Kind of similar to what we're seeing with the Bills now, but I digress. All you really need is like another nice receiver. Pairing them with Devontae Adams, whether it's someone of the caliber of like a Jordan Addison in today's time or like a Keenan Allen, whatever. Instead, they're like, no, we're going to trade up in the draft Jordan Love, who wasn't even projected to be a 1st-round pick, who was a project. You burn your relationship with another Hall of Fame quarterback, all for you guys to have him play for 3 years. There's a weird air. Meanwhile, Aaron Rodgers wins back-to-back MVPs, plays the best football he's ever had. And then you trade him away. Yeah, I have Jordan Love. And Jordan Love sucks. Officially. You take out the first 2 weeks. He has 5 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. His QBR is in the 60s. 60s. Yeah. He's terrible. And the Packers have destroyed their reputation. They really whiffed hard. This might be the worst draft pick in the history of the Packers. And they're a mess right now.